plainly, I'm all done. I'm tired. And let me tell you why. And full stop, this is the truncated version. If you want to read everything, the full disclosure is in my blog today on my website. So the other day I went live expecting to have the average time with, my followers and stuff, just having a good time, talking, joking around, but somehow caught the attention of quite a few angry, disgruntled, and poorly conducted Christians. Which is frankly par for the course. I'm used to that kind of thing, although I will say that this is the first time that I was genuinely appalled by these people's behavior. Because for all of their words about how I am demon-possessed, I have never seen behavior more stereotypical possession level than these people spitting out accusations and all caps shouting belligerent nonsense in my comments. All of them so desperate to get anyone in that live to agree with them outside of their echo chamber. Again, par for the course, but I do find the hypocrisy interesting, and other people have commented on it before, like Archbishop Jonathan Blake of the Episcopal Church. Let me show you a little bit of what he has to say about it.
God calls in the Satanists and Wiccans to save the church. My lives have been revealing. Never could I have imagined the level of hatred, vitriol, condemnation and prejudice that festers beneath the surface of so many sweet-faced Christians preaching about Jesus. The comments on my live and some of the guests pour out their Christian hatred in a never-ending stream of poison. So guess what? God calls in the Satanists and the Wiccans, who have fled the ugliness of Christianity and now stand as its challengers and exposers. And they preach Jesus' message. Be kind, treat others as you would want to be treated, live at peace, allow others to be themselves, respect people and do no harm, make the world a better place, live in harmony with all good people. It's time for the church and Christians to wake up and realise Jesus left them a long time ago. If they want to reconnect, they may well find him speaking to them through a Satanist, a Wiccan, a pagan, a member of another religion, or no religion at all, a rapper, a rioter, a rebel, or even the person next door.
This is something, frankly, all of us have known, which is that Christians, the ones who claim the label the hardest, tend to be the ones who are the furthest from God. It's very a thunder perfect mind, if you will. And unlike them, it's the people they routinely condemn, the Wiccans, witches, Satanists, the atheists, everyone else, who actually walks the walk of Christ better than they ever will. But couple that now with another thing that I learned, in which now I'll bring up the video that my friend Beck, the Stitching Witch, made about a situation in Franklin, Pennsylvania, in which one church, the Church of St. Patrick, Catholic Church, felt that it was necessary to make an entire call to arms for people to boycott a witch walk, which is literally nothing other than a Halloween event to support small business. And his biggest problem with it, whoever wrote this post, I'm imagining the priest, was that there was one free reading included in the tickets. A tarot card reading. Tarot cards being pretty much just pictures on cardstock. But unfortunately for these Christians, they're so hyper-focused on how dangerous these are that they don't actually ever bother to pay attention to what they say, what we say, what God says through any such messaging means. But even that was not the end result that got me to where I was yesterday. What got me to where I was yesterday was when I was talking to my parents about this, telling them about it, for my father to tell me that, oh yeah, Pennsylvania, that's where they found out that over 1,000 children had been abused by Catholic Church officials and who had been covering each other's tracks and even at one point potentially recommending these kids around to other abusers. With articles mentioning how victims had been beaten and whipped beforehand, how these things were covered up in all of the church records as boundary issues and misconduct, and how priests would confess these things when the authorities finally caught on, how the church tried to avoid authorities there to treat it as an in-house matter. As I say in today's blog, there is a reason Jesus talks about specks and planks. While you sit here speaking of witchcraft in your communities, you are too busy actively causing scars to thousands of children and their families that they will carry around with them for the rest of their life. And then some people have the audacity to say to not talk about these things because it drives people away from Christ. As if the thing driving people away from Christ isn't the active atrocities you are committing in His name every single day, lying about and covering up. I have said everything I already need to say in my blog today, but one thing that I feel should be shared here, and that if you believe the shoe fits, you should listen. If you know someone of whom the shoe fits, you should share this. And if you just believe that this is true, you should repost this. Let me read it to you.
You righteous, unrighteous, you are spiritually starving. The fruits of the Spirit, love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control, are missing from your individual gardens. They're missing because the gardens themselves have been so long neglected. Your eyes turned from them, your hands lifted from its soil to point at the gardens of your neighbor. Where you lift a shaking, withered finger in the direction of one curious clover in your neighbor's garden, the neglected lot behind you bears only brambles where fruit trees should have been, only yew where blackberries should have grown, and all tender fruit-bearing plants have been choked out by the nightshade, the poke, the winterberry. All your food has been replaced with poison, and yet you eat of them. Sexual immorality, impurity and debauchery, idolatry and venomous acts, hatred, discord, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissensions, factions. You stay silent when the men who head your churches chew at your sons and daughters. You preach forgiveness for the scars they create that will never fully heal while redirecting the pain you can't bury on those who are trying to warn you that you serve vipers. Vipers. The longer you stand with your back to your gardens, the more your pointed finger, your outstretched arm will wither until it becomes nothing more than straw, yourself yanked up by your rotted root to be made pure in the fire. The longer you open your mouth against those you've pushed from God with your decay, the more flies will perch in it and lay eggs of filth. The more venom pours out of you, the more it is a sign of the rot inside you. And you lukewarm Christians who are more concerned with telling the injured, the sick, and the neglected needy that not all Christians are this way, know that the longer you turn your back on the true source of evil among you, the tighter the stitches on your eyes become, until you won't even have the chance to gnash your teeth and weep before the gates of heaven. You won't even be able to find those gates. Your teeth will fall from your head with no fruits to sustain you. Your prayers will be ashes in your mouth, your tears tinged with blood from the needle you speared through your own eyelids. For so long as there is evil, there will be men to speak against it, from St. John to Dietrich Bonhoeffer. And so long as there is evil, there will be a table of men to condemn them, 3 to bind them, and 1 to grant their execution. All while the ghosts of faith hover nearby, little more than fearful wisps, saying how they agree with the good men, they agree, but not enough to face the evil themselves. In the words of Dietrich Bonhoeffer, silence in the face of evil is itself evil. God will not hold us guiltless. Not to speak is to speak. Not to act is to act. He also says that by judging others, we blind ourselves to our own evil and to the grace which others are just as entitled to as we are, and that nothing we despise in other men is inherently absent from ourselves. It is true that I am no more holy or clean or good as anyone else. Why should anyone call me good? Yet I see what I see, and so as I speak it against you now in warning, I look for it in myself too. I put my hands to my own garden, bleeding as I rip up the bramble and looking for water to wipe the juice from poisonous berries from my fingertips. Now, however, there is no more to be said to you Christians, lukewarm or righteously unrighteous. Jesus said it once, and you who claim to love him shouldn't need it told to you again. I won't tell you anything more than I have. Instead, I'll give you a challenge. Light the match and let it be swallowed by God's flame. Then touch that match to the blood you claim covers you. Then come tell me where you think the hellfire you always dwell on really is in this world. And just for your reference.
I see a lot of my demonologer friends say that they walk the adversarial path, that they are acting as the adversary, just as, Hashatan or Satan means adversary. But the truth is that everyone who stands for goodness, justice, and truth is an adversary. For all your talk of salvation, there is no saving you. Either you have the eyes to see and the ears to hear, or you don't. Decide if you can pull yourself out of the theater that you are continuously living in, and decide if you want to join the rest of us in actually bringing heaven down on earth. Until then, stop speaking.